Hey guys, this is your host Nitin Binhani, and a very warm welcome to my startup podcast channel Jazair Audio, where we share real stories with real learnings.
In today's podcast, we'll dive into one of the fastest, flashiest, and most expensive startup failures in recent memory. Quibi, co-founded by a Hollywood celebrity and Silicon Valley mogul, promised to reinvent entertainment for the mobile generation. It raised a whopping $1.75 billion in funding and then shut down in just 6 months. So, what went wrong? Let's cover the story into 3 parts, followed by critical lessons for the founders. Part 1. The Big Promise. In 2018, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Hollywood mogul, co-founder of DreamWorks, and the man behind hits like The Lion King and Shrek, teamed up with Meg Whitman, the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard and eBay. A power duo where Hollywood royalty meets Silicon Valley mogul. The vision was to build a new category of entertainment, i.e., reinvent short-form, high-quality, Hollywood-produced premium videos for mobile. No cat videos, no amateur TikToks. Quibi was meant to be premium content in bite-sized chunks. In fact, the name itself, Quibi, came from quick bites. The vision was seductive, watching a movie in 10-minute episodes while commuting, or waiting in line, or grabbing coffee. A streaming platform designed for the on-the-go lifestyle of young people. Hollywood studios and major investors loved it. In 2018, Quibi raised $1 billion in its first round, backed by Disney, Time Warner, Alibaba, and many more. Subsequently, in early 2020, they raised another $750 million, totaling a war chest funding of $1.75 billion. The hype was massive, and Quibi was a blockbuster production before even hitting the screen. However, as they say, money alone doesn't guarantee success. Part 2. The Reality Check. Quibi officially launched in April 2020, and that's when the reality hit of early struggles and the rapid decline. Just 6 months later, Katzenberg was calling investors to say, it's over, the company was shutting down. No one knew, how did the founders burn $1.75 billion in flat 6 months? Well, it was a perfect storm of 5 key missteps. A. Wrong assumptions. Quibi assumed that Hollywood-style polished short films would be a massive hit. In reality, it couldn't compete with the dominance of TikTok and YouTube. People were only hooked on the authentic, funny, raw, and viral content made by creators they felt connected to. B. Ignored consumer behavior. Quibi's product was built for commuters on the go, but it was launched right at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. When people were at home, they began binging Netflix and scrolling TikTok. Quibi's bet on mobile only suddenly felt tone deaf. C. Weak pricing and product strategy. Unlike TikTok, which was free, Quibi charged $5 per month with ads or $8 without ads. That's the same price as Disney Plus at the time, which offered a massive library of films and shows. The worst part was lack of shareability. Quibi didn't even allow screenshots or sharing clips, killing any chance of organic marketing. So, no memes and no viral moments. And when people asked, why should I pay for this? Quibi had no good answer. Subscriber numbers stayed dismal since the launch. Despite being aligned with megastars and big budgets, Quibi's content just couldn't connect with its target audience. D. Founders' sheer arrogance. Quibi was co-founded by a Hollywood veteran and a Silicon Valley mogul. Both the founders thought they knew what people wanted. They didn't care for feedback or test small or even iterate before launch. They just assumed that with billions in the bank and A-list celebrities in the lineup, success was inevitable. Except that there was a strong disconnect between the Hollywood elitism versus grassroots creator culture. And in the startup ecosystem, that's a deadly mindset. Real startup culture thrives on listening to the users, on experimentation, on being humble enough to pivot when the market says no. However, Quibi was just the opposite. It was top-down, closed off, and convinced it was right until the day it shut down. E. Problem of overfunding. Raising $1.75 billion of course sounded like a dream, but it also creates crushing pressure. Suddenly, with huge VC funding, you need massive growth to justify the valuation. You can't test quietly, you've to go big from day one. For Quibi, this meant an extravagant launch with no real idea validation or product market fit. It's like buying a Ferrari before even having a driver's license that no one could handle. Part 3. The shutdown and aftermath. By October 2020, just 6 months after launch, Quibi announced it was shutting down. Both Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman admitted defeat. They blamed everything except themselves. They blamed COVID, the timing, etc. But the truth is simpler. The product didn't fit the market, and no amount of funding could change this lack of problem-solution fit. The content library and tech assets were later sold to Roku for under $100 million, like a distressed sale, and brutal drop from the billions investors' money. For the startup ecosystem, Quibi has become the poster child of how not to build a startup. Large investors, excess funding, but no customer love. Lessons for the founders. Here are the 5 key takeaways from Quibi's spectacular crash. 1. Funding doesn't lead to product market fit. Money only accelerates momentum, not validates the idea. If you're heading in the wrong direction, funding just gets you to failure faster. 2. Vision alone isn't enough. Yes, bold ideas excite investors, but it's the execution, adaptability, and timing that matters for success. 3. Always validate your idea before you scale. Start small, test for early demand, and keep iterating until you hit product market fit. Only then raise VC money to scale up. Quibi tried to skip the messy testing and iterating phases, and that cost them the shutdown. 4. Always listen to your users. Quibi ignored basic user behavior like wanting to share clips or watch on a big screen. Don't build what you think is cool, rather, build what people actually want and will pay for it. 5. Culture shapes outcomes. Arrogance always kills. Founders' humility, experimentation, and adaptability save startups. So, the key takeaway from Quibi's failure? Raising smart, i.e., after you've achieved product market fit, is more important than raising big. The right investors are the ones who push you to validate the idea, adapt or iterate, and align with the target market. At the end of the day, money can't buy demand, it can only extend the runway, and Quibi proved that loud and clear. Folks, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Join us next time as we continue exploring the dynamic world of startups and the valuable lessons from their journeys.